The UFC lightweight division has historically been the most star-studded division in the UFC, having names like Conor McGregor, Khabib Nurmagomedov, Ilia Topuria, just to name a few. And looking at these graphics right here, we can just see how much the division changes over time. I mean, in 10 years, you got a completely different top five. And not just that, even in a 5-year span, the rankings can look completely different. So I, Tony has died, am going to be predicting what the UFC lightweight division is going to look like in the year 2030. We're going into the future. We're using the time machine. We're hopping in the time machine. And we're looking at what this division is going to look like in 2030. But before I even do the first division, like reveal who the number 15 is on this list, we got to talk about people that are going to retire. All right. I think that we can all agree that Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje, Dan Hooker, they're most likely not going to be in the UFC in the next 5 years. Max is 34, Gaethje's like 34, Hooker's like, I think he's like 37, something like that. Gamrot, he might still be around, but I don't know if he'll be ranked in 5 years because he got beat by Hooker and he got beat by Oliveira pretty easily, so we could imagine that the younger skill gap is probably going to lap him and Grant Dawson, who we've seen dropped by some lesser opponents as well. But maybe Michael Chandler is still out there screaming, Conor McGregor! I want to fight! Like, Conor is like the fucking president of Ireland, and fucking Chandler is still going to be calling him out. But yeah, underneath these boxes here, I got who I think is going to be ranked in the number 15 to the champion, bro. So let's reveal the first person who I think is going to be ranked, and that is Rafael Fiziev. I think Fiziev is still going to be around. He's 32 years old, but I don't think he's ever really going to get into the top 5 of the division. I don't really think he's going to go on a great win streak. I think we can all agree that Justin Gaethje is not really in his prime right now, and he beat Fiziev twice, okay? I think that every high-level opponent Fiziev has faced, he struggled with. He debatably lost to Bobby Green. But I do think Fiziev is going to be around for a while to, like, basically be a gatekeeper, you know? And let me say this. I forgot to say this, but, dude, there's no possible way I can predict these correctly. This is just going to be a fun experiment. Like, let's be 100% real, bro. Half of the people that are going to be ranked are probably people we've never even heard of. I mean, like BSD, for example, didn't even exist 5 years ago. And now he's here, you know? So, like, a lot of the people that are probably going to be ranked in 2030 are probably people that haven't even, like, made their debut in the UFC. They're probably on the regional scene right now scrapping up some, you know, some underdogs and stuff like that. So, I can't predict every single person correctly, but I'm going to do my best. And let me get back to what I was talking about with Fiziev, where it's like, yeah, Fiziev is really good. He's got really slick striking, but we've seen him struggle on the ground a lot. I think he'll be a really good test for a lot of the people going forward into the division. So I think Fiziev is going to be around until 2030, but at this point, like, his record already isn't that good. But by this time, I think that, like, he'll have racked up enough, like, wins to keep, like, his, like, ranking status, basically. So yeah, I got Fiziev at number 15. And number 14, I got Nazim Sadykhov. Nazim Sadykhov, man. People forget, man. Nazim Sadykhov had Fight of the Year against Nicholas Mota. Nazim Sadykhov, he's 30 years old right now. Right? He's probably going to get a ranked opponent soon. He's undefeated in the UFC. So I think that once he gets his ranked opponent, depending on who they give him, he'll probably get ranked, all right? And I think he'll kind of be in a similar position to Fiziev, where he's a win one, lose one fighter once he gets into the top of this division. Maybe like a Jalen Turner-esque fighter where he puts on really close fights with the top people in the division, but he doesn't get it done, you know? I think Sadykhov is really good. He's a great volume striker. We've seen him face adversity. He beat Bonfim, he beat Borashev, he beat McKinney. He finished most of these people as well. Sadykhov is a really decent prospect, and I think he will be ranked at some point, go on a bit of a run, but I don't think he's going to really be top caliber in the division, if you feel me. Maybe he could do something, but we also have to assume with a lot of the people that we're ranking on this list that they're going to make massive improvements, okay? We have to assume that the people that we're talking about will get better. And that's not something too crazy to say. So, like, some of the rankings here are going to be a little crazy because, like, as we think of them right now, they're not that good. Or maybe some people that I have on the list, I'll have them lower than the way we have them right now. But that's just me trying to predict the future. So, number 14, I got Nazim Sadykhov. And number 13, I got Mauricio Ruffy. Mauricio Ruffy, he's got a good team behind him. The Fighting Nerds. If you saw his recent Instagram posts, you know that I'm not really fucking with the Fighting Nerds right now. I still love Gene Silva. I still love Protez, but I'm not going to get political. But, dude, I think Mauricio Ruffy is really, really slick on the feet. Even though he got dominated on the ground by BSD, he still showed some good moments on the feet. He just showed, like, he displayed horrible fight IQ. Like, at one point, he had BSD on the ground, and he decided to stand up. So I think Mauricio Ruffy, if we look at the rest of his team, like Gene Silva, Kaio, Protez, they have like all made mistakes in their fights and have gotten better from it. And so I think Mauricio Ruffy will probably do the same thing. I think he'll bounce back from this BSD win. I see them already talking about making him versus Moicano. Really doesn't make sense to me, rankings wise, but he obviously has Dana White privilege. So I think that will definitely help keep him in the rankings as well. But he has a fun style. He fights like Conor McGregor. That will definitely keep him a little bit higher in the ranks as well for the UFC fan base. He's got fans already as well. Brazilian. Like we gotta have some Brazilians in here. You know what I mean? The Brazilians will be sticking around for a while. Mauricio Ruffy, I think he will make the adjustments. He'll bounce back from his loss to BSD. And, I just think if we get this guy some grappling, he could be a real force in the division. But BSD himself is a great grappler, all right? But at number 13, I got Mauricio Ruffy, all right? At number 12, bro, this was a weird one to me because I was trying to think of who would still be around. And tell me you can't see Charles Oliveira still fighting, bro. Tell me you can't see Charles Oliveira just never knowing when to quit. Like, I'm not saying he's going to go on like a Tony Ferguson-esque downfall, but he could, bro. That would be the worst shit ever. Dude, don't even say that. Why did I even think of that, bro? Fuck, dude, why did I even think about that, man? I mean, he could go on a Tony Ferguson-esque downfall, but Oliveira is currently ranked number 1 in the division. And I think that, like, within the next 5 years, he will still be, like, he just beat Gamrot. He still will be able to beat these, like, youngsters on the come up. So I do think that he'll definitely still be ranked in the next 2 or 3 years. And then he's going to start losing some fights. So that's why I still think, like, I don't think Charles Oliveira is going to retire anytime soon. I think in the next 5 years, he will continue to fight. Because even after his last fight with Gamrot, he was, like, talking about, yeah, people said I should retire. I'm not retiring anytime soon. So I think Charles Oliveira will still be around. I don't know if he's going to be really that. He likes to stay active, He's a fighter's fighter, So I think Charles Oliveira will be sticking around the division for a while. I think he'll still be here, but I just don't think he's not going to be prime Oliveira. You know what I mean? Like, kind of like Poirier, Like, if Poirier decided not to retire after he lost to Max, he'd still be ranked number 4, and he could probably still beat the people that are coming up in the division, And I think it's going to be kind of the same way for Oliveira, except he doesn't hang up the gloves. So for that reason, I got Oliveira at number 12, all right? At number 11 on the list, I got Fares Ziam. Something about these French fighters, man. They got the UFC really likes going to France, and Fares Ziam is a French fighter. He's on a really good win streak. He just knocked out Terrence McKinney, and he beat Mike Davis. Mike Davis was someone I was thinking about throwing onto the rankings, but I decided against it. But I do think Mike Davis is a good win. Fares Ziam, he has shown massive improvements since losing to McKinney, and I think he will continue to show those improvements. I do think Ziam will probably get to like the number. This is like, dude, this is hard. I can't predict. This is why this fucking list is going to be so controversial. You can't fence sit on this shit at all. You know, like it's literally impossible to fence it. I think Fares Ziam is on a nice little win streak of his own. I think he will probably end up beating some people that are in the division right now, like Gamrot. Like I could see Ziam beating like someone like Gamrot, someone like Michael Chandler, getting into the rankings, making a decent little run, and then losing to somebody in the top 3, 4, 5. So I think Ziam will definitely, he doesn't fight very often as well, and that's a good thing because you look at people like Chandler or even Conor McGregor. When Conor McGregor decided he's no longer fighting, they kept him in the rankings for quite some time. And so I think it will kind of like Ziam's inactivity will help him stay ranked. And I think that Ziam will go on a decent little win streak and probably be ranked somewhere in the number 12 to 9 spot. So I think Ziam is here to stay in the UFC. He's got some entertaining fights. So yeah, let's talk about the next one. At number 10, I got this guy that's on Dana White's Contender Series this year, Tommy Gantt. If you don't know who Tommy Gantt is, or Gantt, I don't know. Tommy Gantt. If you don't know who Tommy Gantt is, he trains under Daniel Cormier. He just came off a nasty win over just some guy on Dana White's Contender Series, but he walked through him he cut through him like butter, man. Sliced through him like some fucking, I don't even know. But Tommy Gantt, he showed really, really good promise in his Contender Series fight. He trains with DC. He kind of, this is weird, but he kind of reminds me of John Jones, the way he fights. He's super lanky. He goes to his grappling. He looks like he's smart. And so I think Tommy Gantt, we have to predict some of these people that we don't even know anything about yet to be into the rankings. So if I had to put my money on any of these people that are on the come up from Contender Series that haven't even made their debuts yet, I think Tommy Gantt is a good person to put a lock in on. So I put Tommy Gantt at number 10, all right? At number 9 on the list, I got Manuel Torres. Manuel Torres is scheduled to fight Grant Dawson on the UFC 323 card. Grant Dawson is a ranked opponent. And yes, I know Torres lost to Bahamondes, and I don't have Bahamondes on this. But I think Torres is making improvements in his fights. Look what he did to Dober. I know it's fucking Dober, and Dober's washed, and he's old. But he still went out there and starched Dober. He has a crafty win over Chris Duncan. Chris Duncan is about to get a ranked opponent himself. So I find that very impressive for Manuel Torres. And yeah, he lost to Bahamondes, but, you lose sometimes, man. You lose as a UFC fighter sometimes. Torres is fighting Grant Dawson. I think he will beat Grant Dawson. I think Grant Dawson, he doesn't do enough damage on the ground. And so when I think about who is going to enter the rankings and probably get some shots up into the rankings within the next couple of years, I think Manuel Torres, he's a Mexican. He'll get he'll get on the UFC Noche cards. He'll get winnable fights on those cards. I think Manuel Torres will be in this division. He has knockout power. He has a lot of finishes. He only has one loss. He's super young as well. And that's another factor going into these lists. All of these people are young, and so plenty of time for improvement, all right? Number 8 on the list, I got Benoit Saint-Denis. I think BSD is going to be the new Gamrot. Okay, I think BSD is going to clear out. He's going to sit at the number 8, 7, 6 spot for the division for the rest of time. He lost to Moicano, but look, even in that Moicano fight, we saw Moicano drop Dariush in the first round and then get beat. Obviously, BSD's eyes swell up, and he got whooped in that fight, and I predicted him to get whooped in the fight. But I think BSD is making improvements. First and foremost, that's the most important thing. I think he's relentless in his style. I think he can beat a lot of these people that are coming up into the ranks that don't know how to grapple or don't know how to take a shot. And so I think BSD is going to be he's going to be the crafty vet. All right, he's going to be around the division for a while, beating the fucking the Jubilee. Jubilee, Anshul Jubilee is going to make a comeback. Okay, guys, and BSD is going to be waiting for him, cold as fuck. No, I think BSD, he's shown a decent amount of skill. He's young in his career as well. He'll be 34 by the time it's 2030. And so I think he will stick around and float around the rankings until then. And yeah, I think that after 2030, I think probably most of these people will end up beating BSD. Obviously not Ruffy, but I think that BSD will probably still be here, right? So, yeah, I got him at number 8. At number 7 on the list, I got Esteban Ribovics. Oh, well, there we go. Esteban Ribovics. Esteban Ribovics, man, he is super underrated in my opinion. I think he is probably, I think he's the best unranked lightweight right now. First and foremost, I think that he beat Nasrat Hasparask in that split decision that he had. He just beat Elfsbrenner, who is touted as a very good lightweight, right? He beat Zellhuber. He beat McKinney. He beat Hasparask. I don't care. He beat Hasparask. And so he's on a 6-fight win streak right now, in my opinion. And I think that he will get a shot into the rankings very soon. Okay? And I think that he kind of is doing this new meta of fighting. What do I mean by that? The Joshua Van kind of style where you're a heavy volume striker going out there, making it a gritty fight. And that's another thing about Ribovics is that he is one of the most entertaining fighters in the planet. I think he has like fight of the night in his last 4 fights. He goes out there to sling. He has crazy volume. He walks his opponents down, throws viciousness all the time. And I think Ribovics is going to go on a tear in this division. I think he's going to be a highly entertaining fighter, and not just entertainment-wise, but I think he's highly skilled, man. He's got good takedown defense. The fans love him, and that's always very important when it comes to getting ranked. I think Ribovics is fucking good, bro. And I think he has made improvements in his last couple of fights. He's beaten the who's of the unranked division, and I think he'll get a ranked opponent soon. And then once he gets his ranked opponent, I think he's going to go on a tear. But I don't think he's going to be championship level, so I think he'll sit around the 7, 5, 9 spot of this division. So Esteban Ribovics, I got him at number 7, all right? At number 6, I got, who is that guy? This is my teammate, 2-time world Muay Thai champion John Pork. I think John Pork, who just had his Contender Series fight and broke the record for the most punches landed in the Contender Series. He trains with Team Habib. I just saw a video of him. On my feed. And he was literally in New York. He was outside Trump Tower, and there's like some guy that was dressed up like Trump. And he was like looking at him weird. But yeah, he's an unranked lightweight right now. But the way, what we saw from John Pork, it was really, really, really impressive. He looked like a Dagestani, Max Holloway out there, kind of similar to Ribovics, but he looked better. He looked like, just going off of the eye test, you could tell that he was really, really good. Obviously, he will have the grappling as well as the striking. I think that this is a safe pick to put on this list. Oh my God, I just got a lisp out of nowhere. I've been yapping. I think this is a safe pick to put on this list because he trained, first of all, training with Team Habib automatically gives you fucking, Dagestani privilege, right? So he's got that. He's got this skill, and he already has fans, and he hasn't even made his debut yet. So, I keep saying, fan base is, an important thing into getting ranked, which it is, because you need fans to get good fights. But I think the UFC sees the value in this guy. They're going to want to continue this whole Dagestani thing going forward, and he's the guy they're going to put it forward at lightweight. But let's talk about who I got ranked next. I got Paddy Pimblett. Now, Paddy Pimblett is a really, really good jiu-jitsu fighter. He's showed improvement in his striking against Michael Chandler. I think Paddy is, I've hated on Paddy for a while just because he hasn't fought it. He just gets these fucking ranked bums. But I think once he fights someone good, he's going to be like the new Poirier. You know what I mean? He's going to get a lot of title. I think we'll see Paddy in a bunch of title fights. I think we'll see him fight Ilia. We'll see him fight Arman. We'll see him fight, the who's of lightweight. And I think he will beat a lot of the who's of lightweight. I think Paddy Pimblett is going to stick around the lightweight division for quite some time. And yeah, I think Paddy will be here, man. So he's young as well. That's definitely a bonus, all right? Number 4 on the list, I got the leader of Agartha, the CEO. He guards the gates of Agartha. Quillan Salkilld. I think he's the best prospect in the UFC right now. Nasrat Haqparast debatably could have been ranked off of his win over Ribovics, which I thought was a robbery, but Haqparast, I'm pretty sure he beat Jared Gordon. Jared Gordon arguably could have been ranked, so beating Haqparast the way he did with that head kick, his parents owned a bakery, I think that was like, we will all put our attention on Quillan Salkilld, And I think Quillan Salkilld is going to destroy whoever they put in front of him for the next couple of fights. I think he is really, really good in the grappling. He has submissions. He has great wrestling. He has great takedown defense. And he has knockout power now. There's no way you can't have him in the rankings at lightweight. So I think Quillan Salkilld is definitely going to be a name going forward. Definitely a super hyped up guy to look at, all right? At number 3, come on, bro. Look me dead in the fucking eyes and tell me that the PFL is still going to be a thing in 5 years. It's not. This guy is going to become a free agent. Usman Nurmagomedov. He's undefeated. And yes, I do think he lost to Paul Hughes in his last fight. But he only has time to improve. He's young. He's the cousin of Umar Nurmagomedov. He's the brother of Umar Nurmagomedov. And he's the cousin of Khabib. So it would be very interesting to see John Pork and Usman Nurmagomedov in the same division. I think Usman will be. I think he's going to be a title. Like, once he gets to the UFC, it's going to be a big hype thing. I think it will be similar to nobody really has come over from PFL and Bellator and made crazy waves as of recently. Like, the last one was Volkov. I mean, MVP is obviously doing pretty good, but he hasn't got, I think out of all of the PFL people that we can pick, he's probably the best. And PFL is not going to exist in 5 years. Tell me how. Please, in the comments right now, if you believe the PFL is still going to exist in 5 years, tell me how, okay? But I think that Usman will be here. He's friends with Islam, friends with Khabib. I think he's got a great base behind him. And I think that these Dagestanis have plot armor, so he'll definitely be number 3, all right? At number 2, now we look at the UFC rankings right now, and it's filled with former featherweights. And if I had to put my money on any of the great featherweights right now that are going to move up and be a force in the lightweight division, it would be Diego Lopes, who is young, who has already fought for the belt against Volk. I think that if Movsar becomes champ and then he loses to Movsar, I could definitely see him making a move up the lightweight. You feel what I'm saying? I was trying to think of featherweights that could be here. And I think that one, all right, Gene Silva, he could definitely move up. But do I think he'd be ranked? I don't know. It's fucking 2030. What's going to happen in 5 years is anybody's guess. But Gene Silva could be here. I was thinking maybe Arnold Allen. I saw Ortega talking about, if Ortega moves up, he's fucking cooked, all right? But he's not going to be ranked in 2030 at all, even in featherweight. So I was just trying to think, okay, bro, there's so many great featherweight fighters like Poirier, Oliveira. Those are just the two off the rip. I mean, Volk moved up and he did very well at lightweight. And so I'm thinking dude, Conor McGregor, obviously. So featherweights have historically moved up to lightweight and had a good fucking time. So who do I think is going to be number 2 on the list? Diego Lopes, man. I think he's already fought at 155 against Drew Dober. So why would he not come up and fight a 155 if he kind of gets locked out of the title picture? If if Movsar wins, he's locked out. If he loses to Movsar, I'm just saying, trying to predict who's going to move up and whatever, it's basically impossible. But if I had to put my money on anybody, it'd be basically Diego Lopes, all right? At number 1, I got Ilia Topuria. Now, this is a really hard thing to talk about because Ilia Topuria is already talking about retiring right now. Okay? The guy's already talking about going to boxing. He's already talking about moving to 170. He doesn't even have a title defense at lightweight. He's talking about moving to 170. And so do I think that who I have as champion will beat Ilia Topuria? Probably not. But what I think is going to happen is Ilia Topuria knows his own worth. He is a superstar. He's going to try to get super fights. And that means he's going to fight once or twice a year. If not like once every 2 years. And I do think he's going to retire early. And so if Ilia Topuria does retire within like the next 3 years, I don't think the UFC is going to take him out of the rankings. Kind of how they did Conor and Khabib when they retired. Khabib was still ranked at like number 1 for like a year after he retired. You know, Conor, think about Conor after he broke his leg to Dustin. He's never going to fight again. They still had him ranked at like number 1, and they kept dropping him down and dropping him down. So I think Ilia Topuria will probably be retired at this point. But I do think the UFC is going to have Ilia Topuria in the rankings. And so, yeah, that's my prediction. Ilia Topuria will retire by the year 2030, but the UFC will keep him in the rankings. So that's why I have him here. It'd be kind of dumb for me to put him at like 6 or 7 or, 6. It would be kind of dumb for me to put him like in these other spots. I just wanted to make this point where it's like, where is Ilia Topuria at this point? I think he will be retired, and I think that, you know, the UFC will keep him ranked. But who do I think is going to be the champion? I think Arman Tsarukyan in the year 2030 will be a multiple-time champion. Arman Tsarukyan is very, very good, okay? He is a really phenomenal grappler, striker. Look at the not Islam. Well, yeah, you can look at the Islam fight, too. Super competitive fight in the grappling with Islam. Went on a crazy streak after that. Charles Oliveira beat him. We know how good Charles Oliveira is, and he beat him on the ground. And look what, like, it's such a weird predicament because you look at Arman versus Gamrot, and that fight was super competitive on the ground, with Gamrot winning most of the ground exchanges, but not really doing damage. Then you see Oliveira versus Gamrot, and Oliveira completely toys with Gamrot on the ground. And then we see Oliveira versus Tsarukyan, and Tsarukyan beats Oliveira on the ground. But then we see Islam versus Oliveira, and Islam completely destroys Oliveira on the ground. And so it's a weird situation where I think Arman Tsarukyan is very good in the grappling. Just based on his other fights with with Oliveira and Islam, he is a top level grappler, and he has the striking to back it up. I think he will fight for a vacant I think he will fight Ilia Topuria and lose. And then once Ilia Topuria retires, he'll fight for a vacant, maybe against Lopes or Usman or Nurmagomedov. That would be crazy. Or maybe like a, Salkilld versus Tsarukyan in the year 2029. Like, I'm cooking here, man. Just make me the fucking matchmaker already, bro. But yeah, man, this is who I think will be ranked at lightweight in the year 2030. Yeah, man, this division, I really wish that they got some of these younger guys to fight some of the established names, like, I mean, Gaethje fought Fiziev, Poirier fought BSD, but I wish there was just more of that more often, because it seems like we're losing a bit of the star power. We're going to have to start feeding fucking Charles and Max to everybody to get fucking star power off of these people, but yeah, I think this will be an interesting predicament for sure. Obviously, I can't predict. I'm not a fucking fortune teller, so I don't know. It's going to look like, dude, someone's going to set like a 5-year timer on their phone. Come back to this video in 5 years and just like leave a fucking comment. Like, come on, bro. You can't predict it, all right? But this is just a little fun exercise I thought we could do for a video. But that will do it for the video. If you like the video, like, subscribe, comment, do all that YouTube shit. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.